Welcome to Resource PNG. We begin this program with a look at forestry and an ambitious plan by the National Forest Authority to develop forest plantations. It seems an ambitious plan, 800,000 hectares of commercial tree species by 2050. Is this achievable, and what obstacles are there that may hinder fulfilling this target? It has been said that Papua New Guinea remains one of the last frontiers, with untouched forests among the nation's best-kept secrets. For many Papua New Guineans, a connection to their land is something that remains sacred, something which many a times cannot be explained. And these forests, for many generations, have been the source of food, shelter, clothing, life. But in recent times, things have changed. Since the beginning of development, in the terms of the white man, forests have come under threat. The effects of logging on Papua New Guinea's forests have been well documented, with the country now one of the leading round log exporters in the Asia-Pacific region. The Papua New Guinea Forest Authority, the agency that regulates the forestry sector in the country, has recognized the need to protect, but more importantly, grow forests for future generations. This is being spearheaded through its implementing arm, the National Forest Service. The NFS recently held a workshop in Alatau, Milne Bay Province, aimed at promoting forest plantations. With the theme, Painem Ground na Planem Diwai, the workshop brought together forestry officials from all over the southern region to discuss ways in which the NFS could implement this bold initiative to develop forest plantations. The workshop provided an opportunity to meet with stakeholders and inform them of PNG FA's plans and get them to partner with the PNG FA in this initiative. The Alatau workshop was the third regional workshop on this theme, following similar gatherings in the New Guinea Islands and Highlands regions earlier on. Minister for Forests, Douglas Tumuriasa, who attended this meet, encouraged participants to find ways to ensure this bold initiative was a success.
I am one who has worked tirelessly from the back, if I may, talking to governors, ministers, and members of parliament. In the last 2 years since my appointment, I've been telling the Prime Minister, as a Prime Minister, successive governments have inadequately funded forests. Though we have contributed immensely to the development of this country, we have been neglected one way or the other.
This plan is no doubt ambitious. In line with the government's Vision 2050, this plan has a target of planting 800,000 hectares of commercial tree species by 2050. Understandably, not an easy target to reach, especially given the reluctance of landowners in giving up their land to the state.
When I asked you for the 5 million, I asked you because I wanted to see more trees planted in this country. I asked you because I want to begin to talk and liaise and communicate with landowners to make them understand the importance of tree planting in this country. To make them know that without trees in your soil, you will continuously to have floods, you continue to have erosions and also and so. And so to mitigate through, to begin to achieve these results, we need to get these leaders, key leaders, in to understand the programs we implementing. Finding ground planning DY. It's a program that is built in, that is already in the STARS program. We don't have to come up and create something new, a new program, so that government can fund it. Planning ground, the planning DY is already in the STARS program. All you have to do is read the STARS program and the National Planning 10 to 15 year development program, and you find out that it is already tied into these programs.
PNG, Papua New Guinea, has 80% forest cover. 60% of that is still intact. There's only one nation that is equal to Papua New Guinea, that's the Republic of Congo. No other nation on the planet has that type of coverage and the forest still intact. But let me remind us that we have 3 to 4 million hectares of grasslands, degraded areas. So the 800,000 hectares is a target that we are able to achieve.
We have a number of documents that got that target set. The Vision 2050. And if you look at the Vision 2050, we have 7 pillars. But we are riding on number 5 pillar. And the number 5 pillar is environmental sustainability and climate change.
But there is still hope. As part of Operation Painem Ground Planem Diwai, the PNG FA is introducing a new concept titled Integrated Forest Plantation Development, whereby commercial tree species will be planted together with agricultural crops.
Finding ground, you need to search for available land. Not only available land that you can find, but also suitable land for species, for tree species. Suitable land for integrated project that you can also intercrop with other agriculture commodity. And you also need to secure the land. Land security is very important if you want to go into partnership with some genuine investors in plantation development or integrated project.
I say this because you're beginning to dialogue with the landowners. And landowners would like to see their land preserved for their bones, for the future generation. And you're doing the things the right way by engaging and working with landowners. It is now the onus is in our hands and the landowners' hands to free up land, and especially areas where there is kunai grass. In Milne Bay, you don't have to go far, you just have to go to my village, which is across the bay. That's where my mom comes from, but I'm the member for the people on the island, where my father comes from. You just have to go over there, and you realize that some of the areas on the mountain are beginning to have a lot of kunai grass grow.
Under this initiative, agricultural crops will sustain short-term needs of the farmers while they wait for their trees to mature. A sort of win-win situation.
That in the next 10, 20 years, I think by 2030 or 2050, in Papua New Guinea, we would have planted 800,000 hectares of trees. 800,000. It is achievable. It is achievable. And that's why, when the Prime Minister made that announcement in Paris, French, he also announced that all the loggable areas, or areas that are conducive to logging, we will save or preserve up to 2 million hectares.
Stay tuned for more of Resource PNG after the break. Don't go away. Welcome back to Resource PNG. Papua New Guinea has continued to be a leader in the extractive industry, and this has been evident particularly in recent years. The world's first deep-sea mining project, Solwara 1, being developed by Nautilus Minerals off the coast of East New Britain and New Ireland provinces, has been in the spotlight from the very start. And now the Pacific Council of Churches has weighed in on this issue. Solwara 1, the world's first deep-sea mining project developed by Nautilus Minerals, has been touted as the project that will place Papua New Guinea on the world map. Never before has a project of this magnitude been attempted, and no doubt the world will be watching with interest the development of Solwara 1. Off the coast of East New Britain and New Ireland provinces, the Solwara 1 project contains deposits which sit on the seafloor at a water depth of approximately 1,600 meters, containing a copper grade of approximately 7%. No doubt, this is breaking new ground, with deep-sea mining still untested. This has raised concern from different sectors of communities, both locally and internationally. And now, the Pacific Council of Churches has weighed in on this issue. Pacific Council of Churches General Secretary Francois Pihatai has spoken out against deep-sea mining, more particularly the Solwara 1 project, saying this project is not in the best interest of the people. He says this is another example of the Pacific region being used as a testing ground for technology which has not been proven to be beneficial to the environment and to the people.
In 2013, we have taken up that issue of seabed mining on our agenda. It's a new development project, but we have taken up because we have already some information about the damage that it will cause to our environment, especially the sea, where most of our living depend of those maritime resources, marine resources. So for others, that's why the churches during the General Assembly in Honiara 2013 were very concerned, because it will go everywhere, in French Polynesia, in Cook Island, and other places where those survey has been done, and they found out, like they found here in PNG, copper, gold, and other resources they needed to, I don't know for what kind of technological things they want to create out of this. So I will say the other Pacific islands are very concerned about the seabed mining. So that's why we take up the issue on our agenda, and it will be implemented sometime either in October or September when they start this kind of development. And I will say there are lies behind, because if we take the picture of the iceberg, they're only showing the top of the ice, but the bottom part we never seen it. And we had experience that they only show us the positive side of the project, but the negative they will never tell us what will be affected. It's the same what happened to French Polynesia. They came and they said, this is what you got job, infrastructure, and all this kind of, it will be better. But they will never tell you the truth about what will happen after the exploitation.
Pihatai has drawn from the experience of other Pacific islands being used as testing grounds in previous years, where the effects are still being felt to this day.
What is going on here in PNG is also going in the rest of the Pacific. Just to state something that happened in Maunui, in French Polynesia, in Micronesia, in and those like where the Pacific is taken like a testing ground. Say for French Polynesia and Micronesia, testing ground for the US, the British, and the French, where they started, I think, almost 50 years the nuclear testing. And yet, although they stopped those testing, but the effect is still felt in Micronesia, in Marshalls, in French Polynesia, and what they created, there's a lot of loss from the cultural aspect of all the people affected, loss of traditional home, culture, and other things that people is called as with its own identity. That's the effect of nuclear testing, and that effect is still impacting the life of our people now, where uh, some of our people are sick and cancer fraud, lung cancer, and according to some of the scientific who did the research on the impact of nuclear testing in French Polynesia, and that is the worst and sad thing. They found out that the generation today are not the most affected, who will go through the consequences of nuclear testing.
Local churches have been urged to take the lead in raising concerns on deep-sea mining, something which Pihatai says is crucial for the betterment of future generations.
The churches in PNG should play the lead role, because they are the one who will be first affected by this, where this kind of seabed mining take place.
Given these concerns, Pihatai reiterates that the world, but more so the Pacific community, will be watching PNG's every move in regards to deep-sea mining. After all, PNG is the big brother in this region. Lessons learnt from this project will be lessons for the Pacific.
And I think with the same thing will happen with the seabed mining. And one thing I learned is that if to get this project going on, PNG, the government of Papua New Guinea has to pay 300 million to run this project. So that means that the money of the people is given to this company to run the project. It's unjust. So if we get in away the money, and then in the belief that that money will come back, it will not come back on the same amount. It might come back, but it will go back to the government, and then they will see whether to give back to the people or not.
You're watching Resource PNG. After the break, industry updates on Resource News. Welcome back. Time now to take a look at what's been making headlines within PNG's resource sector. This week, members of parliament paid tribute to their colleague, Hela Governor, the late Anderson Agiru. The late governor was instrumental in the development of the PNG LNG project, taking a lead in pushing for greater benefits for landowners in the project-impacted areas. His body laid in state at Parliament on Wednesday. His body was then flown to Southern Highlands and then on to Hela, where he will be laid to rest.
The casket of the two-time Southern Highlands and Hela governor was taken to the Parliament this morning for the last time. His casket was laid at the Parliament's hallway for viewing by members of Parliament, including Prime Minister Peter O'Neill, state ministers, bureaucrats and department heads, including members of the both private and public sector. Many turned up in numbers to pay their respects. Family members and close relatives of the late Hela governor were also present this morning at Parliament. At around 11 a.m., the casket left Parliament for the said Zone Guys Indoor Stadium for the state funeral service. Hundreds packed the indoor complex to pay their last respects to a man many described as Hela's favorite son and a Southern star. Karipori MP and Finance Minister James Marape described late Aigiru as a leader who wanted an equal playing field for many.
You were born a star. You lived a star. And this star will shine in the archives of our memory forever.
Tributes were read out by his brother Vincent Aigiru, daughter Bowie Aigiru and Koroba Kopiagu MP Philip Undialu.
And on behalf of the organizing committee to pay tribute to our hero, fallen hero, the man who has left a big dream behind.
He was a great father, and I'll always live up to him because he always told me to be a leader, to be strong and to be independent.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill led the laying of wreaths, followed by opposition leader Sam Basil, state ministers, members of parliament and other bureaucrats before the public. Late Aigiru's body will depart for Southern Highlands tomorrow morning before transiting to Hela. Separate funeral programs will happen over the next 3 days before his body will be laid at his home village of Daule.
Shareholders of energy company Interoil have been asked to reject a proposal put forward by a group led by the company's former head. Interoil chairman Chris Finlayson, in a letter to shareholders, urged them not to approve sweeping changes proposed by a group of shareholders led by former chairman and CEO Phil Mulashek. Among them, a significant reduction in the number of board members to 6, potentially paving the way for his return to the Interoil board. In a letter to shareholders, Finlayson argued that proposals put forward by Mulashek were not in the best interests of shareholders as they would have negative effects on the company. These would include hindering progress that Interoil had made since Mr. Mulashek's departure from Interoil, as well as putting Interoil at a competitive disadvantage in attracting qualified directors and officers. The results of shareholders' votes regarding these proposals are expected to be made known at Interoil's AGM, scheduled for June the 14th. Since Oktedi mine returned to production at the end of March, the operation is serving as a valuable source of liquidity to the local foreign currency market. Before the crippling drought in Papua New Guinea forced a 7-month closure of the copper gold silver mine in Western Province, it contributed about 121 million kina in foreign exchange every month. Industry News reports OTML Managing Director Peter Graham saying,
"Since returning to operation, both the mill and mine have performed reliably, and this has allowed the completion of a number of export shipments. The price received for these shipments, while down from the highs of recent years, is consistent with our forecast. The revenue generated from these shipments is denominated in US dollars, and this has served as a valuable source of liquidity to the PNG foreign currency market."
We've come to the end of this episode of Resource PNG. If you'd like to get in touch with us, email us on the address now showing on your screen. For all the latest updates on developments within the resource sector in the country, check out our Facebook page. To view this program online, log on to the MTV website where you will find a link to the Resource PNG page. Until the next time, pleasant viewing. Bye for now.